So what's going on, guys? Stumble Orange 927 here, back again for another video. And here today, guys, I am discussing a very important topic. Should Sprint remain in Halo? Or does Sprint belong in Halo, I should say. Now, key being here is that Sprint is known to be a very controversial subject in terms of the Halo community. Back in Halo Reach, most people despised the idea of Sprint, saying it was, against the classic feel of Halo, and so Reach had it, then Halo 4 introduced it, and not only that, but Halo 4 made it universal, and then Halo 5 comes and makes it unlimited. So it seems that those three Halo games have kind of made it pretty darn clear that the developers are really not wanting to get rid of Sprint, but it leads to the point. Does Sprint belong in Halo? Or at the very least, should it remain in Halo? Now, here's the given reality. I'm going to give two answers just depending from a marketing standpoint and as a Halo fan standpoint. From a marketing standpoint, should Sprint remain? Yes, absolutely yes. The key being is this. Like Halo, with the rechargeable health, the 2 weapons at a time, and everything else, Sprint is an innovation that was created amongst another shooter, and most other competitors are forced to implement it to stay relevant. Most people nowadays are in the given nature that the majority of the Halo community in the modern age wants Sprint, and I know it's difficult to accept, but it is true. If you look at the forums in Halo Waypoint, the majority of the people want Sprint to stay. Now, granted being, there is still at least a third of the community that's still on Halo that doesn't want Sprint, and that combining with the people that left, and yeah, you're closer to a 50-50 scenario, which is why I believe, as a Halo fan standpoint, as a Halo fan, it's difficult to say, because the fact is that with Sprints in there and with it designed, it creates two different experiences. Now, many could argue, well, you should keep the first one because that's a classic Halo, but you have to understand this as well. Halo does need to try different things in order to fully grasp itself, and Halo 5's mechanics for a specific type of audience is very much better than the classic formula. Now, to my view, I do prefer the classic formula a little bit, but overall both formulas are still very great. And the fact of the matter is this. Most of the issues regarding the controversy of Sprint could have been resolved if it wasn't for the failure of one thing, the MCC. Now, it was very clear what the MCC was intended to be, because the problem is yes, 343 needs to try to get new kinds of audiences, but you still gotta not alienate the audience you already have. So, I think what 343 intended on doing was creating the MCC as sort of the haven for the classic Halo fans. In case you didn't like the newer Halo games for whatever reason, you had those classic ones to return to at a full upgrade resolution frame rate, and you were able to play it at a population that was relevant. But here's the problem. We all know how MCC resulted, and that really left the older community screwed in a way, and I was among some of those people. I really was looking forward to having the classic experiences on MCC, playing Halo 3 again, playing Halo 1 and 2 for the very first time, at least from a multiplayer standpoint, and yeah, I was looking forward to the MCC, and when it launched the way it did, it really felt heartbroken. But that's a discussion for another topic or vid. The topic to this is how can we solve the controversy of Sprint and whether or not it should stay in future Halos. Well, I already said, from a marketing standpoint, which is the primary standpoint, yes, Sprint should stay. The fact is that the majority of the current Halo community wants it, combined with the fact that most standard FPS shooter fans are used to the mechanic of being in the game. Now, does this mean Sprint should just be has no regards to balance? Heck no. But I think Halo 5 has finally hit the nail with the balancing of Sprint. Sprint in Halo 5 is overall well balanced because it interrupts the sprint process. Firstly, when you're trying to sprint while being shot at. Secondly, your shields won't recharge. And three, when you do sprint, not only do your shields not recharge, but since you're sprinting in a very predictable pattern, you're leaving yourself as such a big target. So key being, should Sprint be overall removed in future Halo games? At least for the core series of Halo 6 and stuff with this, new timeline, I guess? No. Now, that being said, should we disregard any of the classic formula either? Heck no. Here's the facts that we already know. Halo is a game with full controversy with the position of Sprint. And overall, I do believe Halo 5 could have solved a lot of the issues with Sprint if it had this one thing. And I believe this would have made the classic Halo fans really happy. A classic playlist. Key being is this. Classic playlists in most games happen when they do change it enough to where there's controversy. They try to disregard that controversy. That's why many games implement it now. You have, there's a few I can think of, but the main one that progresses my mind right now is Call of Duty. Call of Duty, after it added the enhanced mobility, had a classic playlist. Now, COD's problem is by having this, they couldn't alter the maps at all, so you're basically playing in maps that aren't designed to not have the abilities. And Halo 5 would go through the same problem, except Halo 5 has one solution to this. Forge. If Halo 5 Forge was allowed and the community was able to make classic Halo maps, both remakes of the originals, but also new maps for a classic Halo feel, and then 343 could put them into the matchmaking for the classic playlist, then said put, your classic veterans would have their maps and such, and you wouldn't have to spend a dime because, well, the community would make the maps for you. Genuinely, this would be a genius idea, and I believe this would also imply Forge as a very useful thing. Because overall, Forge needs to be taken more advantage of, and I believe having a classic playlist would be a perfect chance for them to implement said, classic playlist. So, another being is this. Halo spin-offs. It's on its way. Like it or not, Halo is on its way of becoming an annual franchise, but here's the benefits. The anniversaries are already being made in regards to a classic Halo feel. And we already have Halo 2 Anniversary, which overall, in my opinion, Halo 2 Anniversary very much felt like a classic Halo game, but still modernized enough to stay relevant. Key being is this, Halo 3 Anniversary. Now, like I said before, it hasn't been confirmed that Halo 3 Anniversary is going to happen, but I just feel it would be a very much a missed opportunity if they didn't do it. And I think since most of the fans are desiring it, while not as much as Halo 2 Anniversary, many are still asking for a Halo 3 Anniversary, especially after the failed launch of the MCC. So I believe they would be shooting themselves in the foot if they didn't do it. So basically, yeah, I feel they'll make it a Halo 3 Anniversary. So if they do, that alone is a chance to make a game with a classic Halo feel. And then after that, you can make spin-off games with that classic Halo feel. So then, either way, you'd still have to wait the 3 years for an experience, but you'd still get the experience you want rather than one you don't want. So at the end of the day, the old fans get what they want, the newer fans get what they want. Both of the, audiences have something for each other, and they also get a chance to experiment with the other. That meaning that it creates fresh experiences, different core mechanics and different ideologies. Overall, this means everyone gets what they want, everyone gets something new out of the experiences if you're that person who buys Halo every year, and everyone wins. The reason COD is complained about being an annual franchise is because COD is practically the same design every year. And not only that, but it doesn't get the chance to listen to people when there's something they don't want because they do too much of the same thing. Like if COD had it where 1 year was futuristic, one was modern day, and one was in the past, no one would be complaining about the futuristic junk, because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't have to play it that year, and then they could just play it during the year of the modern or past, or vice versa. If you're a person who doesn't like past games because they just lack technology and stuff, you could wait till a modern or futuristic one. Or if you're that person who just wants to alter timelines, then you can do all three. It's a very general presence that COD could have done, but it didn't. But this is an opportunity of what Halo could do to, one, capture audiences from multiple medias, as well as this, give a fresh experience for your dedicated Halo fans, and also end the controversy between some of the arguments that the fans have. This would finally bring this to rest, and then that would solve the sprint issues, the ability issues, and this would honestly allow it, thanks to this, you could create a second spin-off to where, say this, you could get spin-off to experiment with things. Since the main Halos, I get 343 is scared to experiment with stuff, because I get it. They don't want to screw up things. But at the same time, if you half-A it, you're more likely to not make it interesting. So what you need to do, and what would be great about this, is you could have a spin-off game of Halo, basically be able to make a Halo spin-off with the said experiment to its full degree, and then the fans could say what they like and what they don't like, and 343 could take this stuff into account if they ever plan to bring it into the main Halos. If everyone hates it and just says it's stupid, don't bring it in. But if they say it's pretty good in concept but has issues, and these issues could be easily solved, then implement it by solving the issues. By having this, you are creating a game with a good opportunity to say, make a fun, cohesive experience. And not only that, so essentially, spin-offs is the solution to Halo controversy. That is the simple thing. If spin-offs came out, that would overall make the Halo franchise a better place, and it would save the franchise in the long run. If Halo came out with spin-offs, then there wouldn't be any need for controversy. There wouldn't be any need for people arguing to the point they are. Because at this point, because with Halo spin-offs and with Halo lines of different, type of game, you're not forced every year to have to compete whether or not you get this type of Halo game or this type of Halo game. Sorry. Because practically every year, you are getting the Halo game you want. It may not be that particular year, but at least 1 year out of the 3 or 4 years, you're gonna get the Halo game that you want. And this also gives developers of individual groups more time. Imagine if Halo 5 had 4 years instead of 3-year development. See how the game could have resulted. So yeah, guys, that's basically it. Could Halo spinoffs be the solution to the Sprint controversy and just all of Halo's problems in general? I hope you guys please answer in the comments below what your opinions, and I hope you enjoyed the vid, guys. Please like this video up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.